Eliza Cooper of Cooper Hill. Yeah, I know that area. He is the son of Ulysses Grant Cooper and Augustine Bazemore Cooper. In 1956, Mr. Cooper graduated from St. Luke Elementary School. St. Luke, little bitty St. Luke School. Oh, wow. That you get people from all over the country that come here to do their genealogy. From California, from Texas, all over the entire country. So it seems like the whole United States at some time or another has passed through Berkeley County. Yep. Anyway, I'm going to turn it over to these gentlemen. I don't know who wants to go first. Mr. Cooper.
All right, well, my name is Willie Cooper again.
Hello.
Child public school teacher in New York City. I guess this is my wife. She's back there somewhere. Without her, none of this would be possible. In so many ways. I also want to thank God and the Barnes Memorial Library for making this evening possible. I also want to thank and recognize Brother Alexander for his influence in making this evening possible. I also see my sister back there. I can't call all the names here, people I recognize, otherwise I'll be won't be able to do my 20-minute presentation. Everybody know who you are, your family. I'm glad to see everybody to come out tonight. I'd like to talk a little bit about my journey in terms of writing this book. My journey began in 2006 when I came to a homecoming for my aunt Annie Mae's 90th birthday. And her son, my cousin Stevie, showed me this portrait. And he identified this portrait as Edward and Eliza Cooper. And they are my great-grandparents. And I was struck by the physical attraction, the composure of these people. And they didn't fit my image of the downtrodden people in slavery. So I said to myself, wow. And come to find out they were prosperous people. Right out of slavery, right out of Reconstruction. They owned at least 200 acres of land. And their oldest son was William Mon Cooper, who was my grandfather. William Mon Cooper is well known in Berkeley County. His name brought instant respect and recognition. They asked who are you? Like you come to town or something? And you say, I'm the grandson of William Mon Cooper. Right away, you get instant respect and recognition. Also, William Mon Cooper was one of the founders of St. Luke Credit Union, right down the street there, which is now a statewide credit union. He lived to be 101 years old. He was a man of honor and integrity, one of my heroes. And just as coincidentally what happened, just my talking, when I mentioned my cousin Stevie, who showed me the picture, he walks in. My cousin who showed me this portrait, due to his insight, or foresight, or whatever you want to call it, he preserved this picture. When I was down, he said, you want to see a picture? And I said, yes. And from him, I got this picture. That the story begins. Mon Cooper was married to Nancy Reed. And Nancy Reed is the daughter of George Reed, the Civil War veteran, who was my great-grandfather. I don't remember her because she died in 43. I was a baby. But she was the daughter of George Reed and Ann Reed. And from Ann Reed's papers, I learned a lot of history when I was able to write my book. Of course, she applied to the pension board, and she had to write a lot of letters to get a pension. And writing to Washington, D.C., I got her letters. And her story was amazing. From her letters, I found out that her maiden name was Barnhill, and that her father was a Civil War soldier. So I come from a family Civil War soldier. Her father was named Blunt Barnhill. He served in the same regiment as George Reed. But he got wounded and he was discharged in 1864. He didn't serve the whole term. So Nancy Reed was one of 9 children of Blunt Reed and Sarah Reed. They had a lot of daughters. Ulysses Cooper, my father, the oldest son of Bon Cooper and Nancy Reed. And Ulysses Cooper was the oldest son, married to Augustine Bazemore, right here from Windsor. Anybody that lived in Windsor for a long time knows some of the Bazemores, and they definitely know my grandmother, by the name of Daisy West. Daisy West lived right here in town, and she served as custodian at W. Desert High School for many years. So that's not complicated enough. Even though my last name is Cooper, I'm related to Basemores, I'm related to Barnhill, Reeds, West, all those people. If that's not complicated enough, that was one of these their real names. Because they were born from Africa, sold into slavery, and their real names I may never know. So in doing my research, I came to a point where I couldn't go any further. And once I got to slavery, then the names become all confused and so forth. So I remember that my father used to talk about his hero. And his hero, he kept the legacy alive for George Reed. Now I wonder why he used to brag about George Reed so much. And sure enough, when I did my research, I found out why. George Reed was one of the soldiers in one of the finest regiments, fighting regiments in the time of the Civil War. And that regiment came right out of North Carolina Colored Volunteers. There were 4 black regiments raised in North Carolina. And the 2nd North Carolina Colored Volunteers, he was a member of that. And they were not just soldiers to me, they were freedom fighters. They were liberation war. He enlisted in the North Carolina, 2nd North Carolina Volunteers in 1863 on Roanoke Island. Roanoke Island at this time was a haven for runaway slaves. And under the leadership of Brigadier General Edward A. Wild, he set up here we see a picture of Edward A. Wild here. One armed general, which he suffered wound in the battle, previous battle. And he set up a haven for slaves on Roanoke Island for the soldiers, for their families, whatever he said. And it's on Roanoke Island that George Reed enlisted in the 2nd North Carolina Colored Volunteers. In 1863, they were transferred to Virginia. And in 1 month's training, they were sent to northeastern North Carolina. And on that invasion, they freed over 600 slaves. They captured and appointed a rebel leader, Confederate leader, and they destroyed guerrilla war camps in the Dismal Swamp. And they were so successful in this invasion, they were sent back in December under the leadership of Edward A. Wild on one of the most famous military invasions in the entire Civil War. And this invasion made history, and it's right here in the history books. And we didn't know nothing about it. I know nothing about it. Here you see a picture of that military invasion, which made history in the Harper Weekly magazine. This invasion freed over 3,000 slaves. It was the first time a large number of black soldiers led an invasion to free their own people. Not only that, they dealt severe damage to the Confederacy corps, freeing these slaves, crushing guerrilla war camps, and they were successful in this. So successful, as I say, this is a historic picture of that invasion. And if you can, a lot of schools throughout the nation, you'll see this picture. Now imagine if I'd known about this picture growing up, what that had done to my self-esteem. And it's probably what my father was talking about, because he probably knew about this invasion that we didn't know anything about. Anyway, then in 1863, they came back to Virginia. And in Virginia, the name was changed to the 36th Regiment. And the 36th Regiment then was sent to Maryland, Port Lookout, Maryland, one of the penitentiaries in Maryland. And they became one of the few, well, first, only black prison guards. Soldiers in the 36th Regiment. Here you can see in the book on page 14. Prisoners of war. And some of those Confederate soldiers came from right here in Windsor, Berkeley County. And you can see the soldiers guarding their former slave masters. And the 36th Regiment is part of that. Also, after they were sent back from Maryland, they were sent back to Virginia in the area of Petersburg and Richmond. And in 1864, they engaged in one of the most famous battles, known as New Market Heights, near Richmond. Now, they're now no longer part, they're still the 36th Regiment, but now they became part of the 25th Corps, which became the all-black army, only all-black army in American history. and they're now part of the 25th Corps. And part of the 25th Corps, they participated in this famous battle called New Margaret Heights. Now, 14 black soldiers won medals for that war. And 4 of those soldiers came from 36th Regiment. Their names were Sergeant William Davis, Sergeant Samuel Gilchrist, Corporal Miles James, and Private James Garner. They were successful in this battle, so successful that their general, Benjamin Butler, decided to award them out of his own pocket their medals called the Butler Award, James Awards, which he presented to these soldiers. And this became one of the most famous battles in the Civil War, the Bible Heights. After they won that battle, which was crucial to the capture of Petersburg and Richmond, they involved in the siege of Petersburg, and the 36th Regiment was the first regiment to enter the captured city of Richmond. They were the first regiment to enter the city, and they were there to maintain order, to restore order, before President Lincoln arrived, making his speech. And they were ignored, even though they helped capture the city. The military ignored them, but they got their last say before us. Their chaplain, David Stevens, who had been a chaplain within the whole 4 years, made a speech in the first black man to make a speech in the one of the churches there in Richmond. And it wasn't too long after that the war ended. In 1865, it was surrendered to Robert Lee. But unlike a lot of regiments, my great-grandfather's regiment weren't discharged. They were sent to Texas. They didn't get out of Texas until 1866. In 1866, he was discharged in Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana. She came home. He returned back to Roanoke Island, spent 3 years in Roanoke Island, and then he came to Bertie County, where he worked for many years as a farmer and a lumberman. A lot of you may know about the Dismal Swamp. He was located on Highway 17. Worked there for a lot of years. And at the age of 50, he started having problems, rheumatism and stuff like that. But he had quite a few children, 9 or 10 children, a lot of daughters, like I said. I remember one of the daughters, we used to call her Lou Laney from Tarboro. And also his youngest daughter lived right here in the woods, and so we may know her, but she passed away in the 60s, Nicolia Smallwood. So a lot of Smallwood in the woods. My great aunt was one of those, one of his daughters. Like I said, he started complaining of rheumatism and so forth, and he decided to apply for his pension. And I have original papers, pension papers that he applied. These papers come from the National Archives. And this is letters that he wrote, well, mainly that his lawyer wrote. Even though he's fought in the Civil War, he's a veteran, he still has to get a lawyer to apply for his pension. You see his lawyer, you see the lawyer's name, you see the date where he applied for his pension, 1888. And it's the causes of his pension, rheumatism, and distance suffering at Petersburg. And interesting enough, they had witnesses and all of that at the time. And one of the signatories was Blunt Bondry, my great-great-grandfather. And his pension was rejected. Even though he's a veteran, his pension was denied. He applied again in 1890. Same thing, going through the same process, hiring lawyers and so forth. Again, his pension is denied. Rejected. He applied one more time in 1893. And again, he's rejected. So he did not receive his pension, even though he was in the Civil War. So, and he died December 1894 at the age of 64. And this is available, anybody want to see it at the end of the session. I will pass it around right now. Okay, so much for the 36th Regiment. One of the most famous battles in the Civil War was the battle that occurred at Fort Wagner in South Carolina. And this battle was made famous by the movie Glory. A lot of people have a picture of the famous battle at Fort Wagner. A lot of people know about the movie Glory, starring Denzel Washington. What many people don't know that at least 120 people, soldiers right here from Plymouth and Windsor, was in this war. And 1863 was a turning point. That's when they began the aggressive recruitment of black soldiers. And once the black soldiers entered the war started turning around. Even though they didn't win this battle, they destroyed all stereotypes and myths about black men not having courage enough to want to fight and so forth. And this is why a lot of major battles are now occurring that black soldiers participating in. Like Milligan Bend, Mississippi, Port Hudson, Louisiana. So these battles began to turn the tide. I'm going to say a few words about the 4 regiments that were raised in North Carolina. The first regiment raised in North Carolina was called the 1st North Carolina Colored Volunteers. They were raised in 1863. Brigadier General, as I said, he was the leadership. And he organized, his purpose, he came to Newburgh in 1863, his purpose was to raise what was known as Athens Brigade. He wanted to try to raise 4 regiments. And during the first summer, he was successful. He raised a regiment called the 1st North Carolina Colored Volunteers. And then a regiment came in from Massachusetts called the 55th Regiment. Now, the soldiers from North Carolina, they were mainly escaped slaves, whereas the soldiers from Massachusetts, they were like free from many states. So he got his regiment right away. And their name eventually changed to the 35th Regiment. And for this regiment, he appointed James Beecher Colonel from the famous Beecher family. Some of you I know heard of Harry Beecher Stowe, who wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin. He was related to her. And what was rare about what he did was he appointed 3 black officers. And that was grand revolutionary at the time. He appointed Lieutenant Colonel William Reed, Lieutenant Colonel. He appointed a black doctor named John DeGrasse as major, and he appointed a chaplain named John Miles. That was rare at that time. And the 35th Regiment went on to fight in battles in South Carolina, Florida, Maine. That's the 35th Regiment. That was when the Brigadier Edward A. Wild got in North Carolina. He was met there by John William Henry Singleton, escaped slave from Newburgh, who wrote his own book in the 1920s called Recollection of Slavery Days. He was an escaped slave. He served in both armies, the Confederacy first and then the Union Army. And when he got there, he presented Edward A. Wild with 1,000 men that he helped recruit himself. So he was an escaped slave. He had already raised the whole militia and presented over to Edward A. Wild, which was called the 1st North Carolina Colored Volunteers, which eventually became known as the 35th. Also, you see one of the Parker Robins, one of the highest officers in Berkeley County, representing this district right here. So we have the 1st North Carolina Colored Volunteers, the 2nd, which I mentioned, and the 3rd, which became known as the 37th Regiment. Now, there's 2 things about the 37th Regiment. First, they had a story of tragedy. So right here in Plymouth in 1864, Plymouth was recaptured by the Confederate Army. And they took black and white prisoners. And some of the prisoners, soldiers were killed, and a lot of the black soldiers were killed after they surrendered. They were massacred right here in Plymouth. But they got their triumph in 1865 when they were able to help defeat the last seaport in North Carolina, which was Wilmington. And they participated in this battle. And once they participated in this battle, and when Wilmington fell, the Confederacy was pretty much over. So 37 got their triumph anyway. And the last regiment was the heavy artillery. They were called the 1st. Their name was changed to 14th. So those were the, and the artillery is a little different. They fought like mainly Kingston and Newburgh, protecting the forts. So we're going to summarize this briefly in the next 5 minutes. Why I call this Forgotten Legacy, because The most famous regiment, the regiment raised in South Carolina, Kansas, and New Orleans, even before they were officially recognized. They didn't wait to be recognized by the guy. They were fighting out there anyway. It was mainly escaped slaves from South Carolina and free people from Louisiana. They had their own army. There were over 200,000 of these soldiers, and they were organized in over 160 regiments. And they had infantry, cavalry, artillery, and engineers. Okay. Like I said, the most famous regiment was the 54th Regiment. Most people know about the 54th Regiment. That's the regiment out of Massachusetts. There's a statue in Massachusetts recognizing these soldiers. And of course, most of these soldiers were commanded by white officers, and a lot of presidents, but there were some great white officers. They were devoted to their soldiers. And I'll mention just a few. There was Thomas Higginson of South Carolina. I already mentioned him with a while. Benjamin Butler. A few soldiers like that. Officers were very dedicated to their black soldiers. They met great presidents, of course. They were treated terribly. Black soldiers were treated terribly. They were killed sometimes, not paid the same salaries, returned to slavery, all that was going on. And they fought in some major battles. And finally, in 1998, they were finally recognized in Washington, D.C. There were skulls there, and they had what they call a wall of honor of all the soldiers participating. And on that wall of honor, you'll see my great grandfather's name, William Reed. Black soldiers won about 40 medals. The most famous officers were highest officers, about 100 officers. The most famous was Augustus, Alexander Augustus. And then we had Martin Delany and Pinchback, who became the first governor of Louisiana. So the most famous soldiers were William Cotton. He's the first black man to win the Medal of Honor. And we had George Washington Williams. And the most famous soldiers. And lastly, there were about 30,000 sailors. And they won about 8 Medals of Honor. And one out of every 4 sailors in the Union Navy was black. And 2 of the most famous sailors in the Navy was Robert Smalls. He hijacked a Confederate ship and turned it over to the Union Army. And lastly, there was Lewis Latimer. He was the inventor of the lifeboat. And that's pretty much my presentation. Thank you very much.